So with that, I want to invite Dr. Loren to our show. Dr. Loren Genetti, a practice owner and prosthodontist. She went to school and she said knowing just a little bit about occlusion was not good enough for her. She had to be able to get tertiary anatomy on every single one of her composites. So Dr. Loren, thanks so much for joining us. Start us off with, what is your role in the dentistry world? Give us a minute or two of your story.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I am so excited. It was through an avenue of connections that Dr. Goodman and I
May
got.
Lynn, give shout out to May Lynn. She might be here. So
Hey,
May Lynn is just,
Lynn.
yeah.
I was teaching over at Temple and she put us in touch with each other. So that's another thing. The dental world is extremely small.
Yeah.
So stay positive, put yourself out there and just understand that down the line, there could be people that you come across that will remember you from dental school. I mean, I moved to central Pennsylvania and I kid you not, there's about 5 or 6 of my classmates all in this town. So it's great to know people and network, and your network is your net worth. So it's kind
I
of
love
my.
it, Lauren. And before I want to say, I always say, have friends in your phone. Tell us about your text group that you rely on. Tell these young dentists, medium-aged dentists, why you need friends in your phone to be able to laugh with, learn with, sometimes cry with, figure out problems with. Tell us about your group.
Oh my gosh, where to even start? I have so many. One of them is to have your connection in the area. So I'm a prosthodontist, so I have a lot of referral sources, but mostly it is groups of friends and people that you meet after all this time. Like I had said, go to your dental society meetings wherever you go, and get your name out there and get your face out there. And it's going to be
Yeah.
intimidating. Trust me, especially if you're moving to a new city. You don't know anyone there and you have to figure it out and you have to put yourself out there and you have to practice, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love
Go.
that. I want to share two of my favorite dentists who've come to Boost Camp, Super Dentist Boost Camp. My team can share that. The way they found their seven-figure practices by sitting next to an older dentist at a CE course. It wasn't Indeed. It wasn't a broker. It was literally just sitting next to, having fettuccine Alfredo for lunch. I don't know why they always serve that for Saturday lunch meals. That's not everyone's normal Saturday lunch meal, but having some fettuccine Alfredo for lunch. So tell me this before we get into dental jobs. What was your first job on earth? I was a busboy at a truck stop diner. What was your first job on earth?
My first paycheck job was on the phone at a optometry office. It was my sister as an associate there, and I was making calls to patients for recalls. They needed
Oh wow.
somebody just in a part-time position. It was during college, and I was able to make it work in my class schedule. And it was on the phone, talking with patients, getting them scheduled, figuring out the office dynamic and how that works. And honestly, it's really helped grow my, talking on the phone and speaking with patients, hearing what their hot topics are, what the concerns are, seeing the dynamics with the team and the doctors. It was a great first experience into the career world.
Great training. I always say that people say it's really important to get people skills. It's really important to get people skills, but there's no people skills university. That's life. So when you have jobs like that, you had to kindly annoy people to come back and see that optometrist. So great training for dentistry. So now in the associate world, tell us a little bit about your associate journey, good, bad, ugly, and what would you say are a couple tips people listening, people watching, associate dentists should do to avoid messing up their associate job?
Those are great questions. The first thing is to live like a resident after dental school or residency. And that's really tough because think about it. You've been in school for 8, 11 years, some of us, and you have seen all your friends on Facebook get married, have kids, buy the house, get the new car because they've been working in, corporate world, or they've been able to do that while we've been in school. So it's really tempting. The minute you get out, you go, hey, listen, I got some alphabet soup after my name. I'm a doctor. I deserve this, right? I deserve that new house. I deserve that new car. And it's going to be tempting, but just hold off. Live like a resident, live as you are as a student, as long as you can. I'm talking like 5 years if you can. And if you live like no one now, you live like no one later.
Great
So
advice.
what is that? If that's not even just having your savings, but think about it. It can affect different avenues of your life. If you decide that you want to buy a house, you buy that house, but then what if your job doesn't work out, or you don't like the area, or you have this mortgage payment and so you can't go for that opportunity to buy that practice, or go find another place that you want to work that might be a little less pay, but it's going to be better for you in the long run. So having a humble beginning will give you more opportunities to be flexible.
Love that advice. I mean, also, I say it's very risky to buy a house before a dental practice because it's easy to buy a house. It's hard to find a dental practice. And as a dental practice broker, I've been on the phone with people saying, hey, I got this great practice 75 minutes away. And they say, I can't move there because I bought a house. But if they'd been renting an apartment, they would be geographically flexible. And buying that dental practice or starting one is one of the biggest decisions of your career. So great advice there. How about your journey? Anything, when people say learn from the mistakes of others or even learn from, what someone has done, anything on your associate journey that you'd like to share with our group?
Yeah, and it was actually something that was really eye-opening and took a lot to learn, just because to get through school, think about every exam you've had to study for, everything you've had to do for yourself. Nobody studied for those exams. Nobody applied to those schools. Nobody decided that you were going to be a dentist and did it for you. So we've had this very focused, individualistic mentality that you had to do to get yourself to where you are now. And when you get out in the real world, you have to take that mindset and flip it on its head,
Yeah.
because now you're working in a team, and that is a whole different dynamic. And it's learning how to be vulnerable, and it's really scary. And you feel, okay, I'm coming out of school. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Think about it. The assistants know more dentistry than you do. So
Right.
to be vulnerable is scary, but they respect you more when you go up to them and say, hey, I haven't really done this here yet, or I haven't done this. Can you help me step through it? I promise you, they're not going to look down at you. They're going to respect you more for it, because they know you're young. They know you're coming right out of school. And if you come off being like, oh, I know everything, I
Yeah.
got this, even though inside you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it doesn't come off well.
I love that advice. I mean, I always say, ask people to be your expert. And it could be simple. I say to new associates, the first thing that you should do when you walk in and start a job is say to the team, where's a really good place to get lunch around here? Because they can't get the question wrong. You become open and you say, oh, we have this great pizza place. And it's just ask people to be an expert, your expert. And same thing, how do you guys set up for this here? I've never done a crown here before. Show me. And Eric was saying in the chat, your humble beginnings part was just really great advice, because some of his classmates were trying to buy BMWs their third year. And I think now, last question for you is, I would say, what do you wish someone told you sooner, or what do you wish you did sooner? Anything come to mind personally, professionally, financially, CE wise, that you just say, hey, I wish someone had crossed paths with me and told me this sooner?
The one thing that sticks in my mind, and I think about it almost daily, it was an article I read, and it was about an Olympic sport. I think it was a gymnast, and she was getting ready for the Rio Olympics, and it was the last practice before she flew out, and it was a horrible practice. And she was just so discouraged. She's like, oh my God, I've worked my whole life for this and all this and all that. It was terrible. And her coach said, good. And she's like, what do you mean good? He's like, good. And it's the rule of thirds. Everybody thinks that everything is 100% supposed to be great all the time. You're supposed to
Yeah.
be happy. Your life is supposed to be put together, and you're supposed to always be good. But honestly, that's not healthy, and that's not
Yeah.
realistic. So getting that in your mindset and realizing a third of the time, that's good. But a third of the time, if it's bad, that's also good, because
Yeah.
that means that you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that you're doing things that you're learning as a human being, which we all do until the day we die. And then also another third is that things are just okay. Not
Right.
everything has to be good, not everything has to be bad, but you have that in between, and that's just life. So keeping that in mind on those bad days, realizing this too shall pass, and the good times, this too shall pass as well.
I think that's amazing advice, especially for dentistry, because it is an emotional roller coaster. You're not allowed to get off, and you have to keep things in perspective. The highs can be high. You're changing people's lives with their smile. The lows can be low when you get a text message saying, hey, I'm quitting this job and I'm not coming back. And you just have to be able to deal with it. One of the things I'll share is I wish I had paid attention to my numbers sooner in my practice. I did a lot with people training, a lot with people coaching, but I worked with my dad, and they took dental insurance plans that I wish I had analyzed sooner in my career. They'd taken them out of sort of this hey, we always took this plan. We always took the teacher plan. I wish I had someone like the Mark Costas Dental Success Network to help me sooner. So now these dentists out there have so many coaches that can help you with numbers, can help you with people. So don't be afraid to get help. Well, Loren, amazing share with us. People can text Loren to 215-798-9897. Is it okay if people connect with you to ask you a question about being a prosthodontist, centric relation? Just kidding. That's made up, right? So that's made up. There's no such thing as it. But is it okay if people connect with you? Is there anything you could share for the video here, how people could follow you on Instagram, reach out to you online, email? What would be the best way?
Yeah, please text, email. You can get that through there. I teach, so I have students texting me all the time, just asking, questions or advice on starting ownership or to finding a job, or just, hey, this patient said this today. What do I do? So I am an open book. I am a text or email away, and I check them frequently. So please reach out. And if you're in Central Pennsylvania and you want to come visit the office, we always love having students and residents as well.
Awesome. I love that. And dentists are not particularly good at taking compliments, but I want to share that I start my lectures by telling the audience that I get a lot of parenting advice from TikTok because I was listening to a video with dad saying, we should change how we talk to our children instead of saying, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for getting good grades, getting in dental school. It creates a weird dynamic of our children always needing to please us. And I never thought of it that way. And he said, instead, we should say to our children, our team, people around us, you should be so proud of yourself. So you should be so proud of yourself, Loren, for all the things that you've done. Practice ownership is not easy. Putting yourself out there is not easy. And we really appreciate you being on with us.
I appreciate it too. Thank you guys for the opportunity.